Then you're getting.
Yeah?
You getting both of us? Or just me?
You can't really get... I do have you both, but Gordon, if you could move just a skosh over. Oh, you're very close to the table.
So
Though.
what's
Okay.
your name? Gordon?
Okay.
Gordon.
Okay. Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Kevin.
Kevin.
All right.
Let us know when you're going.
We're going.
Great. We are very lucky to have here today the founder and proprietor of Shalestone Vineyards in the Finger Lakes, Mr. Rob Thomas, who also has been making wine in the Finger Lakes for a lot of years and has been very influential in the growth of what is called the Banana Belt. Tell us a little bit about your own winemaking history here, and what is the Banana Belt, and why is that significant to wines in Seneca?
Well, the Banana Belt is where there are no bananas. And, it's a stretch of Seneca Lake. It's near the deepest part of the lake, and it's the east side of the lake. The climate, the microclimate here is just a touch warmer than the other side of the lake in the north and the south. So we can get by with growing some of the more warm climate grapes, and we can get the nice rich and full body character that is a little more difficult to do in most of the Finger Lakes. So if you come and visit this region, like there's more depth and structure to the wines, I think, and that's what I always try to focus on, because I have this great niche right here.
Great. One of the things that's unique about Shalestone is that you do only red in a region that's known predominantly for white, although, as Kevin keeps saying, the reds are up and coming all the time.
They are.
What was your decision about focusing on red wines here?
Well, the main thing is I'm not like everybody else, and so it made sense to make red wine in the white wine region. But no, my passion is red wine. That's what I drink most all the time. There's a layer of complexity and depth in red wine you can't get in whites. And I also, when I bought my property way back in the late 70s, intuitively I thought it might be good for red grapes based on no data. That was purely farmer's intuition. So what I did was planted experimentally red grapes down my farm, down very close to the lake, and from what I made in the early days, the wines just seemed to have really nice tannins and texture compared to anywhere else around here. So I decided to focus.
And was that several years of experimenting, or?
It was probably 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah, before I decided to take this to the business level. And so that's how that evolved. I was fortunate to buy this piece of property that has this essence to be able to grow the grapes. I wouldn't have my business if I didn't have this vineyard here. It's really important. So yeah, that's the essence of why I'm here. I love what I do. I love making wine. I love growing grapes. It's my connection to the earth. My conduit to the earth is the grapevine. So when you're out in the field, it's like you talk to any grower, there's communication going on, and there's a lot of hand touchy-feely things you do with the vines, especially pruning and manipulating crop loads and stuff. So, and then every year, the vines come back. They give you fruit at the end of the year, and then the next year you regenerate them to do it all over again. But each year you learn something from the vines, and hopefully you teach the vines something, so that you develop this relationship so that you work together and you both stay in balance. And it's the real key to life. I have this mantra that I try to stick to, that I strongly believe in it, that everything should be in balance. And you should strive for that. And so it applies to your love life, your job, drinking wine, eating good food, so certainly growing grapes and making wine, everything in balance. That's how it all flows. And if you can keep that, like one thing I can do as a winemaker is create that balance. Anything that's out of whack, I can kick it back in so it gives you pleasure. And so think about it. Anything that's out of balance in life is upsetting, causes you problems, and you're always trying to get it back in balance.
Well, and I would say there's no doubt you can taste your philosophy in the glass.
Well,
It comes through. Through.
I've figured out a long time ago because what I do most of my life, I've built spots, such as the one we're sitting in now. If you see my property, my farm and my house I built, I've got gardens down there. I have my spots that I go to sit, and you can call it contemplating, but it's mostly to drink wine.
Drinking wine.
And to explore the netherworld. And that's been my whole life, building spots to appreciate my surroundings. So wine isn't automatic. I mean, I drink a lot of wine. Like, that's where I get inspired to do other things. So it's the greatest life in the world that I have, to be connected to the earth through my vines, and to craft these wines to give people pleasure. So, back to my original point here, my spots. One of the nicest things to do, like what we're doing here, sitting in, looking out the view, like Seneca Lake's over that way, drinking wine. We just had a bottle, or just drinking wine all by itself, and it's quite pleasureful. And the reason it is because it's very balanced. And if it was too tannic or too acidic, we'd enjoy a few sips, but we might want to have some food with it. And so that's what I tried to do, is craft these wines so that they're very enjoyable by themselves.
Yeah.
And as you know, they're great with food too, but they don't need food. Like, these are nice. They just go down well. And my whole description of a good wine is when you have a sip, it tastes good, it smells good, the finish is lingering and pleasant, and it brings you back to want another sip, and then another sip, and then you get another glass, and before you know it, the bottle's gone. So without describing the wine with any words, you've just discovered a good wine. Because it just goes down.
Sounds like most Tuesday nights at my house. The bottle's
So,
done.
We wanted to talk with you about that idea of describing or not describing it with words, because you have we feel a pretty unique approach in terms of describing your wines and how you invite people to experience them. You go to most other wineries and they'll tell you, look for notes of cherry or blackberry, or there's chocolate here or honeysuckle there. There are no tasting notes like that. As a matter of fact, if I could, I just want to read one of the tasting notes. This is from your Red Legend. In the toolbox, it's the crescent wrench. In the kitchen, it's the salt and pepper. And in a relationship, it's the love. Red Legend gets it done. So those are your tasting notes. So what's your thinking behind how you want people to experience the wine, and not, channel them into what you think they should taste?
I try to create an image for the wine that's positive, that is sometimes whimsical, but it puts you in a frame of mind to taste the wine with no connotations to it. So
it's almost like a Zen koan kind of thing. Just open your mind and let the experience happen.
Humor relaxes you. Imagery, like I try to use pleasant imagery, but there's also chuckles involved in a lot of my descriptions. But that's to puts you in a state to taste the wine for what it is. And my observation is that everybody who smells and tastes wine has a bit of a different reaction based on their history, their experience of drinking wine, their mood, or what they just had for lunch, or what they ate for dinner last night. It all affects your perception of the wine. So I think it's really kind of pigeonholing people when you tell them what to smell or what to taste, because it's only one person's opinion. And I find some people get a little daunted by the fact that, I don't smell
they don't
black
taste it, smell. Yeah, right.
How can there be all these layers of flavors? I just get red wine in this, but I really like it. But so that's I've tried to simplify it all, because I just make dry reds here, and all my customers they buy a lot of wine, and I know they drink a lot of wine. They know wine. They know good wine, but very few of them can describe it. And it's a real skill to develop, of what you're smelling and what you're tasting, and put words to it. And I think it's a fun thing to do, but you don't need to do it to enjoy wine.
Absolutely.
And so I'm starting there. Like, the bottom line is, I want people to drink wine for what it is. It's a wonderful elixir for life that, gets you to relax and talk about issues. If you're in relationships, you know, the whole guy girl thing, like wine kind of gets the guy to talk a little
Lubricant.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The social lubricant.
Yeah,
indeed.
it really is, and oh yeah, it's good for romance too. Like so, I mean, it's a good thing to be making.
Speaking of those things and great wine descriptions, we are, by the way, drinking now your 2013 Pinot Noir.
Right.
The description, if I might, is, oh, the fickle femme fatale. Summer like a cold shower and other gives you multiple orgasms. I'm willing to say this is a multiple orgasm version of the Pinot Noir.
Yeah,
This is absolutely delicious.
I usually say one of these little glasses won't do much for you, but by the time you drink a bottle, you'll find that the sensations will be there. A lot of couples will buy 2 bottles to be safe. So, yeah.
It's you're more of a salesman than you let on, Rob. It's a very good pitch you're giving.
Well, I mean, this isn't discussed about in the wine world, but orgasms are quite a unique thing to our human species.
Key to longevity, some doctors say, actually.
And it's all cool how it feels good and kind of drives you to this thing, and it's a good image, really. When to me, it's a pleasure, and wine can give you that pleasure. Really good food can give you that pleasure when you savor something.
Right,
It's a sensual thing.
Right,
And
absolutely.
The reason I describe the Pinot
Absolutely.
Noir like this is it is sensual. It's delicate. You have to be in a state to appreciate all the aromas and flavors. I mean, it's not in your face, but it lingers and it lasts, and it's like that one kiss that just kind of sends you sailing. And if you just have that one kiss, you want to get another kiss.
One, absolutely.
And so, yeah, that's all imagery that works for me.
Let me toast
Well-
your imagery.
Thanks.
And the style, particularly of what I am now finding just year after year, excellent Pinot Noirs here in the Finger Lakes, including yours, is a more restrained style. It's not what most people are used to in terms of California anymore. And so this one, for example, I was thinking has both, if you could talk about classical masculine and feminine features of certain Burgundies, depending on where you are. I think this has each. It's kind of like a Volnay to me. It's got some fruit and some texture and velvetiness, but it's also got some length. It's got some grip. Balance, again, I guess that's the best way to say it.
Well, maybe it's a hermaphrodite.
I was thinking that way myself. Yeah. So one of the reasons we're thrilled to be doing this Finger Lakes edition of the show is that Kevin and I believe that Finger Lakes wines are not only tremendous, but that they're kind of underrated. And we've started to see more press on them in the wine world. Maybe it's a good thing because when we get up here they aren't too crowded yet, but would you agree that Finger Lake wines are still up and coming, or do you think they've reached full maturity now in terms of recognition by the wine world?
Oh, no, I think we're still a tiny region that is being discovered, but the uniqueness of it is that we're small. You have to come here to taste our wines. As far as the fact that we can make wines that rank well, score well against the rest of the world, I think that's been done. But I'm not interested in that too much. Like,
Right.
I'm interested in the people coming here for the real reasons to experience our beauty.
Like you're saying, developing the place.
Yeah, eat good food and, find the good wines that we're growing here. I think, to me, my experience here, my adult life, has been a big experiment of growing these grapes, making these wines, but I'm always evolving. My son's making the wine now, and I'm always pushing him, like, wines we have today are good, I'm happy with them, but we gotta make them better next year. What can we do?
Nice.
What is the next thing? Like, let's try something wild. And that's why we have our Crossroads blend that is an actual vineyard blend that few people do. That was kind of a crazy idea I had, but it's worked out to make a very unique wine that works and no one can duplicate it. So
Right.
I want to make something that unique and outstanding.
That's an excellent wine. We had it last night. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Very much so.
But there's a lot of the same old out in the industrialized world, the corporate world, and I want to attract people here who can think for themselves, who know what real is. They still have their natural instincts, and they know what good food is. They know what good wine is. They know what real people are. They know, they can recognize the life that we live here. And I'm always trying to plant seeds for a lot of people come from the cities here, and I know they have stressful lives. Like, this is an option. You can live your life like you can be in an urban area, but you can still live like this. You just have to have your goals and your sights set on what really matters. And that's what I love about this region. It's pretty laid back. We're all in the business to make a living, but it is our livelihood. It's what we do. It's not like striving to be bigger and grow and be more and more famous.
Right.
And well, that's me anyway. I'm sure there's people who want to be famous, but well, you may. I don't know. Rob Thomas. I get a lot of this comment on like oh, you're Rob Thomas, like I'm the famous one. All the guy in the music world like, can't even touch.
Motley Crue or who? No, who is it? We forget who. We forget who it is.
I don't even know Richard Thomas in the music world. Well, anything else? Again, we're delighted to be here, and thanks for your time. Anything else you want to say? We encourage people to come to Shalestone Vineyards in particular when you come to the Finger Lakes.
Well, and partly what Rob was saying too, the food is better all the time. The restaurants, the locavore, local food growing all around here. The farmers markets, outstanding.
And the chill atmosphere, which is what Kevin says every time he gets here. He's like, "You've got to come out here. It's so chill out here."
Well, I mean, I think everyone needs to chill. It makes you more productive, and so I'm blessed to be living in a place like this, but it's not far from a lot of urban areas to come here. I mean, a 5-hour trip isn't not a big deal. And I encourage people to come. But check my website. If you're even interested, my website gives you the cross section of basically what we just talked about, and then our hours that are posted there, and you can contact us if you have questions. Good questions.
Well, I hope we've asked some good questions today, Rob.
Sure.
Again, thank you very much.
Yeah,
it's a pleasure hanging out with you.
Thank you, Rob.
Fun.
Kevin, viewers.
What are you getting there?
Just the view we were looking at.
So you're a master gardener, Gordy?
Yep.
Gordon?
Yep.
That's what it's
That's all right. That's what my mother says.
Well, I think that's one nice thing.
Are we on?
Yep. Well, we really enjoyed that visit to Shalestone. They are making some incredible world-class reds in a region that's only really known for whites. What did you think of that visit with Rob, Gordon?
Fantastic time. I hope you enjoyed the interview as much as listening to the interview as much as we did giving.
They actually watched it because this is a TV show. This is a web show. They didn't just listen.
So they actually
saw it.
You're right. You're right.
Show.
Well, I'm not sure. I thought maybe some people sped to the end just to
Podcast?
see our segment.
We're already
because
podcasting.
Who knows? But he's just a brilliant man, and it comes through in his wines and his approach to life, and his pursuit of balance, not to overuse that phrase. It comes to life in his wines, including the one we're drinking right now, which is their 2014, I believe, Pinot Noir.
I thought it was a 13, actually, wasn't it? 13, yes.
2013. There's the bottle.
13, there you go. Shalestone Vineyards.
It is amazing to me. There are so many things going on in a good wine. It is so complex. There's, velvety mouthfeel to it. There's rich fruit flavors. There's wonderful long finish. And this haunting, what's his name, Miles in Sideways, gave the speech about the Pinot Noir and the haunting flavor of that grape, which I think has been captured perfectly in this Shalestone Pinot Noir.
I also think, as we were talking with Rob, it's very Burgundian in style. Also, like he said, you don't need food. It's so well balanced. And this is only 2013. They're putting out a reserve Pinot Noir for the
Yeah, that's
first
good.
time, and I can't wait. It's coming out in a couple of months.
We
We're gonna
tasted it during the interview.
We did taste it.
We got to
It's
drink
not on
it.
camera. We tasted it after the interview.
Yeah, so we have no proof. We actually have no visual
But it
proof.
was amazing.
Unbelievably good Pinot Noir.
Well, and also
Very
Rob,
Burgundian.
when we complimented him, he was really excited because he's so nose to the grindstone and he's so focused on what he's doing there and what happens in the Finger Lakes. He didn't even have any concept, and he loved hearing from us that we thought it was sort of Burgundian and had even an Oregon Pinot Noir style where you have both the big fruit of the California New World and the more restrained Burgundy. As you said, this could be a Bourgogne or a Village. It could be a Nuit Saint-Georges. I don't know what you think it could be.
It could be one of those. It's a rich, rich wine, delicious wine, lots of character, deep. To think that it comes from upstate New York. I mean, when I was growing up, upstate New York was like Taylor. It was like, sugary sweet wines. This is pretty close to perfection in a glass, don't you think?
Sure do. Again, we highly recommend going to the Finger Lakes. There's
Shalestone.
dozens of wineries. We didn't even scratch the surface in this special edition of
That's
Lemon
true.
Parker. Shalestone, incredible. One of our
Cheers.
favorites. Cheers.
And to our viewers,
Salute.
cheers.
That might be
That
all right.
wasn't so hard.